One of the things we think about when we're thinking about art journaling is the fear of overthinking things, I think. So my thought was all about thinking, and this is what this page is about. So I'm starting off with my mini circle art journal. This is my 8-inch art journal, and I've taken out a couple of, well, 3 colours from, I'm not really thinking straight today, 3 colours from my NEOCOLORs. I've got yellow, I've got orange, and I've got the scarlet. And I've just dipped my brush into some water and I'm just mixing and flicking directly from the crayon onto the paper. Mixing the water onto the crayon itself and then using the brush at close proximity like this gives you much more control over where the splatters are landing on your page. So if you have an idea of a kind of formation or a shape that you want to build up with your splatters, then this is a great technique to be able to do that. Because of the control that it gives you, you can pretty much dictate where those splatters are going to land. You may have noticed that I haven't used my heat gun in between the application of the colours, mainly because the yellow, the orange and the red are all very complementary colours and they're all the warm colours, so I'm not too upset if the colours do mix a little. So this is the reason why I haven't taken the heat gun out yet. So now that all of my colour is dry, and I've just used a kitchen towel just to mop up a couple of the big splodges that haven't dried, I'm not too bothered about that because I know that I'm going to be placing a focal image over the top, so it's nothing to worry about. So this is the matte medium from Mod Podge, and this is a sheet of calculus or algebra calculations that was sent to me in Happy Mail. So I'm tearing the strips from the pages and I'm trying to do it so that I have all the calculations, all the algebra and calculus calculation parts from the page, trying to avoid the blocks of text. I'd rather have the numbers and the calculations in the background for this page because it fits my theme better. So I'm just sticking down the last of the calculus onto my page, and then I will need to make sure that the page is dry, so I'm going to bring out my heat gun and give it a good blast to make sure it's all dry, and then off camera I will just trim off those excess pieces with a pair of scissors. So this is the measured stencil from Tim Holtz for Stampers Anonymous, and I'm using the Saffron Archival ink from Ranger, and I'm just going to use one of the foam blending application tools to put the ink through the stencil onto my page. So I'm going to go across the page. I'm not going to do any vertical ones. I'm going to do the whole lot horizontal, mainly because all the calculations on the text that I put on the background is horizontal. So I'm going to follow that same theme as best I can to keep it straight on the page, so nothing is vertical. I'm happy with the stenciling now, so I'm just going to put one final bit on that edge there, and then it's time for me to stick on my focal image. Now, before I started this art journal page, I had the idea of creating the shape of a man sitting, kind of like the thinker, but I wanted to create it in geometric shapes. So I drew it out, sketched it out on a piece of paper first, then cut it out with a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to stick it down on my page. So I've created my own focal point. And if you're wondering why I'm using the glue stick rather than the matte medium to stick my thinking man down, it's because I drew and cut him out of a thick piece of card, and I know that the matte medium has problems sticking down pieces of cards, which is why I've used the heavier glue. I am going to go over the top of this though with some matte medium to seal it, because my original thought was when it was dry I could use my Faber-Castell Pitt pens to add a shadow around him, but after I'd stuck it all down I thought that actually I changed my mind, which is okay to do, because I actually like the page as it looks. So all I have to do now is just to grab my heat gun and then just to give it a blast to make sure it's all nice and dry before I add my quote. So to add my journaling for this page, I'm using my Letter Tag label maker. I want 4 blocks of text, so it will take a while to type it all out and then print each line individually. So I'll show you the first one, and then I will just skip to the end where I've done and printed all the rest. So all of my quote blocks are now printed. I have them laid out in the order that I need to stick them down on my craft mat, just over to the bottom right hand corner of the screen. And because they are self-adhesive, all I have to do is just to peel off the back and stick them right down. And I've mentioned before that I don't go over the top of these once they're stuck down with matte medium or any kind of sealer, because I've been using this label maker now for quite some time to add journaling and quotes and titles to my pages, and not one single one of them has ever peeled off on me so far. So as you can see, the perfect quote or the perfect phrase to go on this thinking page is All About Thinking by Dr. Seuss. And this is my food ball pen, so all I'm going to do is just to outline the word blocks to bring in a little bit of continuity from the black lines around my thinking figure. And that's it for this page. Not overthought, just simple and easy to create, but one that you can get out of your head and down very simply. So I hope you enjoyed watching that little art journal page. Sometimes you just get a little idea in your head and you have to work it through and get it down on paper before it disappears and vanishes off into the ether, and that's what that page was. Just a little thought that I had and I needed just to get it out of my system. And I hope you enjoyed watching the process from start to finish. So if you did, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share with all your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for now. I'll see you all again in a few days. Bye for now.